Well, good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me today. Before we do anything else, please do subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like the video if you like this content, of course, and hit that notification icon so you never miss any of these videos. Well, today's video is a bit different. It's a rant. This is a story of my RAC breakdown nightmare, and it was a nightmare. Now, this happened yesterday. Me and the wife, we drove over to Newquay. We borrowed a trailer of somebody and we took Mildred, the camper van, over to Newquay to pick up a new work car, and everything was fine. We got up to Newquay, we had this big trailer, and we got there and I went round to look at the car and it was all fine. Loaded it up onto the trailer, pulled out of the car park where we picked it up from, drove about 100 yards up the road, and I suddenly lost power. So I knew exactly what it was. My accelerator cable had gone. Now, I assumed it had snapped. So we pulled up down a side road, residential side road, and luckily, or so I thought, luckily, I've been with the RAC for 7 years now, and I've got the full package. So I was expecting, yeah, okay, I'll call them up, they'll come out, sort the problem. Fairly easy problem to fix. I'd looked online, and broken accelerator cables, fairly easy to fix at roadside. So I called the RAC. Well, no, I didn't actually. They advise you now to do it through the online system. So I went online, said, here's the problem, accelerator cable's gone. Now, I have my wife with me, and she is already listed as vulnerable with the RAC. So I thought, we're not going to be waiting too long. Now, the story with my wife is she's just undergone some major cancer-related operation surgery, and is currently recovering. She's got a 16-inch scar going right down her stomach, and is currently recovering. Some of the wounds are still open. She takes a lot of medication. I'm talking 50 to 60 pills of different painkillers, all sorts of stuff. And the time we broke down was about 6:30, so she was due for her pills in a couple of hours. So anyway, back to the RAC. I filled this thing in, and within 5 minutes we got a notification: your breakdown's been logged, and somebody will be with you between 7:04 and 7:34. So, well, that's great. So I reassured my wife, said, yeah, they're on the way. It's not a problem. We'll be home soon. Probably be an hour late for your medication and stuff. And it was all good. So anyway, 7:04 came, 7:34 came. 8 o'clock, I got another notification. We're extremely busy at the moment, but fear not, an RAC rescue patrol is on the way to you. So I bit of leeway, yeah, that's fine. Looked back at the notification thing, and it was still saying 7:04, 7:34. So time went on, got to 8:30. I started to get a bit panicky now. The wife's sort of starting to wear off of meds and stuff, and she was starting to get a bit fidgety. So I thought I'd give them a ring, find out what's going on. And I rung them up and explained to the chap that lodge this breakdown. Wife's starting to get a bit bad. I'm getting a bit worried. And he said, okay, no problem, I'll get onto it straight away. We'll make sure your patrol's there soon. So I said, thank you very much. So anyway, another hour went by, and then luckily there were a couple of neighbours where we were who came out and offered us a cup of tea and used their toilet and stuff like that. We didn't need the tea because we're in the camper van. So an hour went by, and then another hour went by, and it got to 10 o'clock. The notification thing was still saying 7:04 to 7:34, so I rang them again. By this stage, wife really wasn't good, so I rang them again, and they said, oh, we are very busy. I said, look, you know the situation. I wasn't rude, because I didn't want them hanging up and writing us off. I said, you know the situation. We need this patrol to come out. Right, he said, I'm going to escalate it. Apparently they got this escalation thing where a manager gets involved. And he said, we'll escalate it, you'll get a call from a manager. I said, okay. So another half an hour went by. No call, no change in anything. Just another thing saying we are really busy. Now, something I found out is somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock, what the RAC do is they farm their jobs out. They farm them out to third-party contractors, recovery agents. I didn't know this till we eventually were on the way home, but I'll come more back to that later. So, anyway, it got to 11:15 it was. 11:15. Still nothing, still no change in the statement, still no contact from a manager. So my wife was starting to get in a lot of pain by this stage. So I put the bed down in the camper, tried to make her a bit comfortable, but obviously with all the surgery she'd had, she needed meds pretty urgently. So I went to call again. As I was calling on wait, a notification popped up and it said, your call out will now be between 10:46 and 12:46. Bearing in mind we broke down at 6:30, so I really wasn't happy. Got on the phone to him again, what is going on? Now at this stage it was quite clear to me that the guy I was talking to was reading paragraphs from a predetermined script. That's all, because it was textbook what he was saying, you know. He was saying, we're really sorry for the delay. You could hear in his voice, he was reading it from a script. So I don't know this, but I'm willing to put money on the fact they've got a computer screen with certain paragraphs that are responses to certain questions from customers. Of course, I didn't get irate still, and finished the conversation with him. 10 minutes later, I got a call from a recovery company, not RAC, another recovery company. And this goes back to when it's somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock, any jobs they've got on, they're obviously taking on too many jobs that they're capable of doing. And any jobs between 10 and 11 o'clock, they farm out to third-party contractors. So, about 11:15, I get a call from this guy. And he said, hello, my name's whatever it is. I'm coming to recover you. I said, well, I didn't want recovering. I just want you to come out and sort out my cable. He said, oh no, we're a recovery company. So I said, all right. I said, how far away are you? He said, I'm in Plymouth. Now, Plymouth is an hour and 20 minutes away. So I'm pretty much at my wit's end by this stage. Anyway, finally, just before midnight, this recovery guy turns up. Now this guy could see I wasn't happy, but I knew it wasn't his fault. So I explained everything that had gone on, and he said, just before I called you, 5 minutes before, we got the call from the RAC. So the RAC had lied to me. They said they'd contacted them at least an hour before that, and they hadn't. It had been 5 minutes before he called me. So anyway, he hooked everything up, and my wife was in a lot of pain by this stage. So this guy was driving an Isuzu pickup. Now I don't know if you know about Isuzus, but they're not comfortable rides. Now with all these open wounds that the wife had, me and her had to squeeze in the front with him. Not a lot of room. By the time we got back anywhere near home, she was just in tears and pain, in absolute agony. It wasn't, now this guy who was driving this wasn't his fault at all. He was quite a nice bloke, and he even said to me about this period between 10 and 11 o'clock, RAC farm their jobs out because they can't do them. So I thought, well, there's the proof of it. Anyway, because we were carrying the trailer, we couldn't get recovered all the way to home. So we stopped at Holsworthy. Home was another 16 miles on. I said, look, you've got to drop us here. So he dropped us there, said his goodbye and whatnot. I unhooked the car from the trailer, left the camper van and the trailer there, and we drove home. We eventually got home at 26 minutes past 3 in the morning. Bearing in mind, this is from a 6:30 breakdown, 70 miles from where we live. To say I wasn't best pleased would be an understatement. It was an absolute nightmare. Anyway, managed to get a couple of hours sleep, got up at 7 o'clock, needed to get the camper van sorted still. So I called RAC again. Right, what are you doing about my camper van? Oh, we're putting it on to dispatch now for you, sir. You'll hear from them within a few minutes. 2 hours later, no call or anything from dispatch. So I called them up again. I said, look, I'm really fed up with this. Just recover it back to my house. I'll pay a mechanic to come out and do the job. He said, okay, that's fine. I said, unless you've got a patrol that can come out and sort it for me. Right, he said, I'll put it onto dispatch now. I said, no, you told me that 2 hours ago. He said, no, I will put it onto dispatch. Then I got a notification saying, yeah, we've put it onto dispatch. So I told this guy on the phone, look, I'm at home back in Torrington. I'm a 30-minute cab journey back to Holsworthy to pick the camper van up. So can you pass on to your mechanic, to your patrolman rather, that he needs to call me 30 minutes before he gets there, otherwise he's going to be waiting around. That's no problem, we'll put that on. So I thought, that's okay. So an hour later, I get a call from this nice lad called Craig. He said, hiya mate, I'm just round the corner from you. I said, no, I'm in Torrington. He said, oh, they've just sent me the job through. I'm just round the corner from Holsworthy. So they hadn't passed that message on. I said, I'm really sorry, mate, that I've got to get in the cab. I've got to come out to Holsworthy. That's okay. He said, no problem at all, no problem at all. So I said, all right, I'll be with you as quick as I can. So couldn't get a cab, 45-minute wait. So I had to take one of my other cars. I took the other car up there, and so I met this guy called Craig. I said, look, really sorry, mate. I explained everything that happened to him the night before, and Craig was so apologetic. I said, look, it's not your fault. And he said, no, I know, but this sort of thing, it's us that get the brunt of it all the time. I said, mate, as far as I'm concerned, you guys out on the road doing the job are fantastic. And to be fair, every other RAC mechanic guy that I've had 3 of them before. All of them absolutely brilliant. Couldn't fault them at all. They were really, really professional and everything. With the other 2 jobs I called them out for, one was 5 hours, one was 6 hours on that as well. So I said to Craig, look, I told him this last night, it's accelerator cable. I said, you shouldn't need to recover it. I'm pretty sure that you can have a look and sort of get it going. And bless him, he got into the cab. Within 30 seconds, he'd fixed it. Absolutely within 30 seconds. What had happened was the end of the cable had come unclipped from the top bit of the pedal. Not something I would have known, but he'd fixed it. He said, there you go, mate. He's continuously apologising. I said, Craig, really, thank you so much for doing that. So he said, right, I said, I need to get a jump start because I had my hazards on for 7 hours yesterday, flat my battery. So he jump started me, and when I started this camper up, it squeals. And he said, do you have battery problems? I said, well, not generally. He said, turn your engine off a minute. And he crawled underneath my camper van, and he found a fault on the alternator, and absolutely bless him, he fixed it for me. I couldn't believe it. So, yeah, I mean, I thanked him profusely. I really did. Really, really great service from him and all the other patrol guys. The problem with RAC is their administration system, is their call centre, call it what you want. That is the big issue with the RAC. Now, if you look on social media, there's loads and loads and loads and loads of stories like this one, all saying exactly the same thing. The RAC administration is absolutely dire. They have not got a clue what they're doing. The people work there are robots reading things. Well, it's not their fault, to be fair. They're reading lines from a screen, you know. I tested this with one of them. I threw him a curveball, asked him something totally different, and he had to pause. He didn't know what to answer because the answer to what I asked him wasn't on his screen. So there you go. If you are an RAC member, that's up to you. If you had good service with them, then fantastic. Me, I've had absolutely crap service with them, with the exception of the call-out guys, and especially young Craig, who came out and rescued me today. So once again, I'd like to thank him. RAC, the rest of your administration, shame on you. Especially my situation where my wife, I'm just about to go to hospital to collect her again now, because she's had to go in because of medications and stuff. And this is all down to pretty much the lies I was told last night. So there you go. It's the end of this rant, end of this video. As I say, I did have full service RAC membership. As from today, I am no longer with the RAC, and I would not touch them with a barge pole ever again. So thanks for listening to this rant. As I said earlier, subscribe to the channel please, it really helps us, and don't forget to like the video, hit notifications, and if you like content like this, of course. If you don't, then don't bother doing any of that. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye for now, ta-ta.